What if I told you that everything you knew about ancient Rome is just the tip of the iceberg? That behind the facade of the Colosseum and the stories of legions lie hidden technologies that modern science has only just begun to understand? The story you're about to hear today sounds like science fiction. In the very heart of Europe, archaeologists stumbled upon a lost quarter of a long-known city. But what they found there doesn't fit into any historical records. Artifacts that were 2,000 years ahead of their time. Technologies that, by all laws of logic, simply shouldn't have existed. Hello, you're on a channel where we delve into the most incredible mysteries of the past and try to separate fact from fiction. Today, we are embarking on a journey that will make you see the Roman Empire in a new light. We're used to thinking of the Romans as great builders, strategists, and lawyers. But were they also brilliant inventors whose boldest discoveries were lost, or perhaps intentionally hidden? Recently, during construction expansion on the outskirts of Carnuntum, an ancient Roman city in modern-day Austria, workers accidentally uncovered a layer untouched since the fall of the empire. They found not just another set of ruins, but an entire isolated quarter buried under layers of earth. And in this quarter were workshops and storerooms full of objects that have stumped scientists. If you love the mysteries of history and incredible discoveries that force us to reconsider everything we thought we knew, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. That way, you won't miss our next investigations and you'll help our channel grow and find even more amazing stories. The first mystery the archaeologists encountered was the very condition of the buildings. Despite 2,000 years underground, some structures were preserved almost perfectly. The secret lay in the material. It was Roman concrete, but a special kind. The analysis showed something that was, until recently, considered impossible. We all know that Roman concrete was incredibly durable. Many structures like the Pantheon or the ancient aqueducts still stand today. For a long time, it was believed that its secret was the use of volcanic ash, pozzolan. But samples from the lost quarter of Carnuntum showed something more. Inclusions of quicklime were discovered in the concrete structure. Modern researchers from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology only recently concluded that the Romans used a technique called hot mixing. They added quicklime directly to the mixture, which caused a reaction at extremely high temperatures. These lime clasts, which were previously thought to be a sign of poor mixing, were in fact a genius self-healing technology. When a crack appeared in the concrete over time and rainwater seeped in, the lime reacted. A calcium-saturated solution was formed, which quickly crystallized, filled the crack, and healed the structure, making it monolithic again. In essence, the Romans created a smart material that only grew stronger under the influence of the elements, a technology that we are only just beginning to approach in the 21st century. If self-healing concrete can be explained by brilliant engineering, then the next find left everyone in shock. In the ruins of a rich villa, an almost undamaged glass cup was found, known as a diatretum or cage cup, a vessel with double walls where the outer layer is a delicate carved net. In normal daylight, it was an unimpressive murky green color. But when one of the lab technicians shone a flashlight through it from the inside, the cup flared up with a rich ruby red color. This artifact is a virtually identical copy of the famous Lycurgus cup, which is housed in the British Museum and dates back to the 4th century AD. For a long time, it was considered absolutely unique, a one-of-a-kind marvel. The discovery of a second similar artifact proves that this was not an accident, but a mastered technology. The secret to this astounding effect, known as dichroism, was only revealed in 1990, when scientists were finally able to study the glass under an electron microscope. The results were staggering. It turned out that the ancient masters had somehow managed to embed microscopic particles of gold and silver into the glass structure. The size of these particles did not exceed 50 to 70 nanometers in diameter. To imagine the scale, suffice to say that they are 1,000 times thinner than a grain of table salt. The Romans of the 4th century, without any modern laboratories or even a concept of atomic structure, had somehow mastered what we today call nanotechnology. It is these nanoparticles that cause the glass to interact with light in such an unusual way. When light hits the cup from the outside, reflected light, the tiny metal particles mainly scatter the shortwave blue-green part of the spectrum, which is why we see the vessel as green. But when the light source is inside the cup, transmitted light, the particles, on the contrary, absorb the blue-green light, allowing the long-wave, red part of the spectrum to pass through. As a result, the cup glows from within with a blood-red fire. The main mystery is the manufacturing process itself, which is still not fully understood. How did Roman glassblowers manage to grind precious metals down to the nanoscale? How did they achieve their uniform colloidal distribution in the molten glass mass in a precise proportion, roughly 3 parts of silver to 7 parts of gold? Modern techniques for creating dichroic glass involve evaporating metals in a vacuum chamber and then depositing them onto a surface, a process unthinkable for the ancient world. There are several hypotheses for the purpose of such cups. Some scientists suggest that the color change could have symbolized the stages of grape ripening, which aligns with the depiction of a scene with the wine god Dionysus on the original Lycurgus cup. Another more pragmatic theory suggests that the cups could have been used as poison detectors. Different liquids have different refractive indices, and it's possible that adding poison or another substance to a drink could change the cup's color, warning the owner of the danger. This idea so impressed modern scientists that, inspired by the principle of the Lycurgus cup, they are developing highly sensitive portable sensors to detect pathogens in biological samples or hazardous substances. But whatever the case, the process of creating these artifacts remains an absolute mystery, a technology that, by all historical canons, simply shouldn't have existed in the 4th century. Perhaps the most mysterious object found in the quarter's workshops was an item that has stumped historians for centuries, the Roman dodecahedron. It is a hollow polyhedron made of bronze or, more rarely, stone, with 12 flat pentagonal faces. Its design is intriguing. Each face is furnished with a circular hull, and the diameters of these holes are almost always different. In addition to all this, on each of the 20 vertices of the polyhedron, there are small knobs or studs, giving the object a completely unique and enigmatic appearance. To date, over 100 such artifacts have been found throughout the former Roman Empire, from Wales to Hungary. All date to approximately the 2nd to 4th centuries AD, which indicates their fairly widespread distribution during a specific period. But what is striking is that despite numerous finds, not a single Roman text, not in scientific treatises, not in letters or in historical chronicles, makes any mention of what this object is or what it was used for. There are also no images that could help solve this mystery. It is a complete historical silence, which in itself is incredible for such a practical civilization as the Roman one. Over the centuries, a huge number of hypotheses have accumulated, but none provides a complete answer. Some believe it was simply an exquisite candlestick. Traces of wax were indeed found inside one of the dodecahedrons. Others suggest it could have been a measuring device, a rangefinder for determining the distance to objects on a battlefield, a tool for calibrating water pipes of different diameters, or even an agricultural calendar that helped determine the optimal sowing times by looking through the holes at the sun at different times of the year. There are theories that they were finials for standards, dice for some forgotten game, or even a tool for knitting gloves. However, none of these theories can convincingly explain all the features of its design. Why are the knobs on the corners needed? Why do the hole diameters almost never follow any obvious mathematical or standard system? Why was the device, if it was a device, so complex and imprecise? The find in the inventor's corner did not provide a direct answer, but only added fuel to the fire. The dodecahedron lay next to objects that looked like astronomical instruments and fragments of scrolls with star charts. This leads to a thought. Could this strange object have been part of some complex navigational or astrological device? Perhaps it was used for some sacred or divinatory rituals. For the followers of Pythagoras, the dodecahedron, as the most complex of the regular geometric solids, symbolized the universe itself. Perhaps the Roman artifact had a similar mystical significance. This unidentified Gallo-Roman object, as it is jokingly called by archaeologists, remains vivid proof that we may be missing an entire layer of knowledge about the daily, technical, and even more likely, sacred life of the Romans. The lost quarter in Carnuntum is, of course, a narrative construct that has helped us piece together disparate but absolutely real facts. It is assembled from genuine archaeological finds and scientific discoveries made at different times and in different parts of the former Roman Empire. Self-healing concrete that mends its own cracks. The Lycurgus cup, created using nanotechnology. The mysterious bronze dodecahedrons, whose purpose remains a secret. All of this is not fiction, but authentic artifacts that challenge our perception of the past. So what was it? How could these incredible technologies have existed 2,000 years ago and then vanished without a trace for centuries? Was it a singular flash of genius from individual masters whose secrets were so complex that they could not be passed on to apprentices, and they simply died with their creators? This would explain the rarity of artifacts like the dichroic cups. Or have we encountered traces of an entire but lost branch of scientific and technical thought? Perhaps there was a whole school of engineers and scientists whose knowledge was irretrievably lost in the fire and chaos that followed the fall of Rome. With the destruction of libraries, the collapse of the complex imperial infrastructure, and the onset of the so-called Dark Ages, entire layers of knowledge could have been wiped from the face of the earth so thoroughly that only such mysterious material evidence remains. There is a third, even more intriguing version. Perhaps these technologies were never intended for widespread distribution. They might have been the property of a very narrow circle of initiates, elite military engineers, priestly castes, or even a secret society within the empire that guarded its knowledge with the utmost secrecy. In this case, the absence of written references, for example to the dodecahedron, becomes understandable. It was secret knowledge that was deliberately not publicized and was passed down by word of mouth. One thing is certain: history is not a frozen monolith carved in stone. It is a constantly changing, living picture that is supplemented by each new discovery. And finds like these prove that our ancestors were far more inventive, complex, and brilliant than we are used to thinking. They show that technological progress has not always been linear. Perhaps history knows not only ascents, but also profound declines, during which humanity lost what it was then forced to rediscover over centuries. And who knows what other incredible secrets of ancient Rome are still waiting for their time deep beneath our feet. So what do you think? What lies behind these artifacts? The genius of individuals, a lost civilization of knowledge, or the secrets of secret societies? Or maybe you have your own, even bolder theory. Write your versions in the comments. Let's dive into this discussion together. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that we can continue to unravel the greatest mysteries of humanity together.